Daniel Jones is captaining one of the best offenses of all time is a statement I never in a million years thought I'd say. The Colts currently have the highest points per drive of any offense ever, more than the 07 Patriots, more than the most points scored ever in a season 2013 Broncos. No, it's the 2025 Colts that are the most efficient scorers of all time. A perpetual 500 team the last decade. Could anybody have guessed Daniel Jones, the guy who flunked out of New York, was the missing piece to offensive greatness? No. But today, we're gonna discover why. And the primary answer why, Jonathan Taylor, who's unbelievably underrated. He is 4th all-time in rushing yards per game. Let me repeat that, 4th all-time. He's ahead of Eric Dickerson, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith, anybody you can possibly think of, besides Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, and Terrell Davis. That's how good Taylor is. He's 5'10", 226, so he's a goddamn fire hydrant, yet his speed, agility, and vision are elite. He's a devastating combo of thunder and lightning. To show you his vision and speed, check out this example against the Titans, where there are a million different things going on at once, yet Taylor handles all of them in a split second masterfully. The Colts are running GT counter stutter, where it's counter with the G guard and T tackle pulling. But instead of Taylor following those linemen to the left like you would in typical counter, he instead stutters and breaks to the right. Since the Colts are so devastating on the ground, a lot of teams run blitz them, which we'll dive deeper into later, where they're blitzing a defender to quickly fill a gap and hit Taylor before he gets started. When you run blitz, you have to slant your defensive line a gap inside to make room for your blitzer, so Taylor has to be ready for that, and the Titans also rotate a safety back into too high at the snap. They're trying to disguise all of this, all things happening right at the snap or right after it. And then even one more factor, the Titans screw up the call and slant the other side of their line too. Taylor sees the Titans messing up, so he quickly closes the space. And you can tell the way this is supposed to be blocked by the Colts, where Taylor is supposed to cut back to the left since Bernard Raymond is blocking to create an alley that way. But when Mo Alley Cox hesitates because of the Titans' crazy blown assignments, now Taylor has to improvise. He stays under control with his cuts, doesn't get too far outside of his body, then watch how he explodes past Amani Hooker. This is what a Hall of Fame legend looks like. He is the engine of this elite offense. He's the straw that stirs the drink. But by adding Daniel Jones, the Colts now have a player at every position who's at least competent, making them versatile enough to attack every single part of the field. With Taylor in this offensive line, they can run every concept, and the O-line is good. And then with Danny Dimes, they can attack deep, intermediate, and short with consistency. They have excellent skill players to execute every specific role you could ask for. Dimes can run too. Any play you want to call in football, the Colts can do it and execute. Before we really dive deeper into how good this offense really is, I want to thank this week's sponsor, DraftKings. I'm a big fan of DFS, trying to win big time money through any of the daily fantasy challenges. So looking at Indy's ground game, they've obviously been crushing, which opens up everything else through the air, so I think Indy vs Pittsburgh is a smash spot. Since they're not priced too high outside of the War Daddy, that means I can add some of the other big time guys through the league and get active. DraftKings also has same game parlays. You can bet live on in-progress games right as they're happening. So sometimes if I'm watching a game that's not really hitting, I'll throw a couple bucks down and make it interesting, and boom, it gets interesting. New customers can turn $5 into $300 if your bet wins, paid instantly through bonus bets. The crown is yours. So if you use my promo code RollinsNFL, you can turn $5 into $300 if your bet wins, paid through bonus bets. The Colts have good to excellent pieces at every level of their offense, and besides Jonathan Taylor, the second best part of their group is their offensive line. Quentin Nelson's been one of the best guards in the league for a long time now, and with him at the point of attack with Taylor behind him, sheer dominance. Check him out on this big-time run against the Chargers. In many run schemes, the reach block is the most critical and crucial. Right at the snap, the lineman has to jump out in front of the D lineman while not losing his balance, insanely difficult. The key is to take a 45-degree angle towards the D lineman and replace your near hip with his far hip. But while you're moving, you have to be strong enough and grounded enough to take on his direct hit, and have it not drive you straight back into Taylor, look at how good Big Q is against this. Reaching the one tech splits the defense in half, the safety is the only one here to stop Taylor, and his speed completely erases every single angle there is. So defenses know how good this running game is, so their counter, as I said, is they have to run blitz, which takes a defender from the secondary and rushes him, meaning you have less guys in coverage. So then when the Colts run RPOs, where, by the way, Daniel Jones is also a threat with his legs, which adds even another dimension. And check how the Colts use this motion to create space underneath by widening out the cornerback. They're one of the best motioning teams in the league, averaging .313 EPA per play when motioning. And that's because Shane Steichen is excellent at using motion to create favorable passing matchups. Here the Raiders are in 3 deep zone coverage, and Steichen plays them like a fiddle. Even in zone, each defender has a general man assignment. Sure, this is cover 3 zone, but Q Blue Kelly's responsible for Michael Pittman, Jeremy Chin for Tyler Warren, and Devin White, Jonathan Taylor. We can see NFL offenses and NFL defenses count receivers outside in 1, 2, 3. Steichen knows if he sends Taylor to the flat immediately, Warren would become the new 3. So White's supposed to take him vertical, but then Kelly is going deep, so maybe he's supposed to be the one to carry him deep. It's chaotic hell for the Raiders, and Dimes makes the simple read and throw. I love this Colts passing game too, because as I said, Dimes can access every part of the field. It can be Michael Pittman or Alec Pierce deep on a go ball. It can be Pittman or Warren patrolling the middle of the field and outside the numbers. Josh Downs and Jonathan Taylor underneath or on screens. Danny Dimes isn't suddenly some unbelievable quarterback, but he's been really solid, can make hard throws, and with everything at his disposal, every offensive member executing their role, he's shined. For example, he's been excellent under pressure. There's been a couple of times where he's gotten immediate heat and found a seam up the middle of the field instead of panicking. I really think all the years he got the crap kicked out of him hardened him, and now he's just legitimately cool as hell under pressure. He can make way more throws than Anthony Richardson could, but it's also the consistency he brings to this offense, even on what appears to be the quote-unquote easier stuff. Like here as they motion the receiver across and a cornerback follows. This is usually a man coverage indicator, but the Rams have their safety off of Tyler Warren, and with linebackers mugged up in the A and B gap, defensive coordinators love showing this man coverage look, then dropping these backers out to cover what would be a quicker route to counter. But, not easily fooled, Dimes still assumes it's man, confidently checks into mesh, which is 2 crossers, an over-the-ball sit route, and a rail route from Jonathan Taylor. And he was right. The Rams do in fact play man coverage, rotate their safety down for Warren, and watch how despite Quentin Lake uses a tailpipe technique in man coverage, the best way to play man coverage against mesh, so he doesn't get rubbed by Tyler Warren like it's designed, Jones hits this easy throw, which is not that easy, just flips it over to Pittman and picks up a chunk gain. It's these little things in an offense that are necessary to create drive consistency, because the easy throws made over and over extend drives, then Jonathan Taylor or one of the receivers can make a big play. And don't get me wrong, Danny Dimes has made some big time plays too. He finally looks comfortable in an offense, and he and Steichen trust each other and are actually really aggressive. Dimes has been awesome down the field, whether it's throwing the deep ball outside, hitting deep digs, or deep out routes against man coverage in the intermediate, or throwing quick hitters, whether it's against a free runner or an underneath route to pick up major yak. The Indianapolis Colts statistically, through 8 weeks, have the best offense in NFL history. While Daniel Jones' resurgence might seem like the primary story, this is the Jonathan Taylor show, and he very well might run them straight into the record books. With this offensive line and Taylor in the backfield, the Colts can execute any run scheme you can think of and dominate. Now with a competent quarterback, the entire rest of the field is unlocked, and with Steichen calling the shots, every possible piece is in play. Do I think the Colts are going to maintain this insane level of efficiency? Honestly, no. But I do like that they're built through their running game, which isn't as likely to suddenly fall off a cliff as a red-hot, historically mediocre quarterback. The haters might say this offense is gimmicky, but the haters simply haven't actually watched the Colts play. They're not throwing to one guy, running one concept, running one direction. They're hitting you up top, intermediate, short, on the ground. Everything is on the menu, and the Colts are absolutely feasting. If they can continue this ride, Jonathan Taylor playing at his all-time pace, and Daniel Jones captaining the ship, the Indianapolis Colts can ride this offense to the Super Bowl.